Said I'm gonna hide around, decorate our home. You'll feel more at ease if you won't need to roam. Here's the newest project on the ranch, and my new daily driver to replace old Brownie. 1993 GMC 3500 6.5 liter turbo diesel with 5-speed. Paid $2,000 for it. Pretty straight truck for that kind of money. Needed some little work here and there. I got to tinkering with stuff and I ended up pulling the tranny. Had a pretty good howl in it. Had a spare one sitting around, but when I got in there I see somebody's started to do a single mass flywheel conversion. Yeah, and only did it halfway, so they kept the dual mass clutch plate and pressure plate, or clutch disc and pressure plate. Not sure if that contributed to the bell housing cracking. If you can see in the light there, it's got a pretty gnarly crack coming from down below. Pretty sorely needs a set of glow plugs and a manual override. Had a load of hay to go get down about 300 miles and picked that up with it and realized I have either a cracked manifold or a hell of an exhaust leak around the turbo. It doesn't help. These things need all the boost they can get. I get a little spoiled with this lift, especially with taking the tires off. It's going to make the rest of these chores quite a bit easier. This truck is pretty much unmolested, near as I can tell. Looks like somebody's taken most of the factory exhaust junk off of it anyway and just kind of straight piped it, but everything else up here pretty much stock. Down in there underneath the turbo and all this other junk, the glow plugs we're going to replace. Stay tuned for further videos. We're going to go over some of the more cost-effective, aka cheap-ass upgrades we can do to this tired old truck and make it more tolerable for towing. We're going to ditch that old-style air box. I've got a little newer style off a 98 and up, I think. And when we tear that out, we'll look at the goofy-ass snorkel that the factory put in here, and we'll get to take a look at this awful upper intake plenum, as well as the anemic little turbo. 90s plastic. Gonna have to do something about the snaggletooth front end on this. Go ahead and do the glow plugs the easy way. These factory mirrors, as far as dualies go, are awful. Horrible things. And since this one's broken anyway, we're going to try to put some better towing mirrors on this truck. Eventually we're going to get in here and turn this pump up a little bit, see what that does for us. We'll run this thing down the road pulling our test trailer and see how it compares to the other vehicles we run. And then I've got a few plans as we go along to put an intercooler on this truck and probably do an HX 35 or something along those lines for a turbo. Test it each step of the way and see what each one of these little modifications does and if they're worth the time and trouble.